Okay, we're all set. So we'll go ahead and start the January Board of Directors meeting, January 2021. Yay. I'm going to keep my comments to just that, except for wishing everybody a happy new year. And we'll skip the secretary's report till Robin joins us. Linda always posts the treasurer's report on the thread, so we can visit that at our leisure. Ray, you did send me a foundation report. Any comments you want to make on it?
Yeah, I did. It's fairly simple, straightforward. The Rotary International has two categories. They have what they call existing active, which are members who were admitted to the club prior to July 1st. Then they have all active, which means all the club members. So of the existing active, in other words, the people who had been members as of July 1st, we had 9 members give to the foundation. And of the all active, in other words, we added a couple of members since July 1st. So we have a total of 10 people who have given to the foundation. The interesting thing is that the people who donate, to a person, they're all E-Ray members. They're all sustaining members. In other words, they give every year.
Yeah.
And out of that group, we had one person who gave sufficient to be a Paul Harris Society eligible. And so the percentage, as of this date, the annual fund per capita is $80, some odd cents. Average TRF giving, the Rotary Foundation giving, is $85 per person.
But the total giving is less than 30% of the club, or 30% of the club.
It's actually 31%, Will.
Okay. 31%.
Yeah.
Which we've got here at the midpoint of the year, we still got a long hill to climb, yeah. I think, on that.
Yeah, by comparison, last fiscal year, 2019, 2020, we had a total of 12 people giving. We had 26 members. So we had like a 46%
right.
giving rate. But of course, a couple of things have happened. One of which is the pandemic. And the other of which I've not been able to really get a handle on, but I question and I wonder what other charities are experiencing because of the 2017 tax reform legislation. So basically, under which, unless you have a lot of deductible expenses, charitable deductions are no longer deductible. You get a standard deduction.
Right. Yeah. Well, you know, a point of interest is that the greatest amount of giving to Rotary International was during the Great Depression.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, do you have any thoughts other than pandemic as to why our giving is as low as it is, or even was?
Yeah, well, I think it's pretty much in line with what has happened in past years. As I said, the total last fiscal year, we had 12 members giving. We're up to 10 now. And looking at the names, I know there are a couple of people who probably will be donating.
All right. Great.
Alicia, are you able to go into the RI website and get that information from the Rotary Foundation? You're
No.
not.
No. The president, the club president cannot, only the foundation chair.
Okay. It's not easy. It is one of the
Yeah.
least friendly websites, and to try to search for this information is not easy.
I know.
Sorry, I had to just check on something. Okay, well, then we need to make sure that we've got a foundation person that can continue to do that next year.
Right.
Okay, good to know. Will, do you want to go ahead and?
Yes. This time I have good membership news.
Oh,
Well, that's a, who's that? Anyway, Milona Sosa is a new member, and she's planning to join us tonight. She's the one that we just approved. She lives in St. Pete, works in Clearwater, is an IT project supervisor, and has not been in Rotary before. So this is her first Rotary experience. So there'll be a lot of training involved. But she's been doing Rotary-like things internationally. So I think she has a potential to be a really great member. And additionally, we have had a request, an application for membership from past District Governor Vince Katura, who used to be in the E-Club. Vince is a good friend. I've worked with him. He is going to be head of Rotary Leadership Institute in, I guess, all of Florida. And he's a great Rotarian. Again, past district governor, and he has been in our district and others. So I'm in the process of gathering Vince's information, and I'll be sending his bio and things out to the board once I've had fireside chat and letter of good standing, both of which are going to be forthcoming here probably in a week. So we're going to have one brand new person and one person who brings a whole lot of experience. So that's good. And I've had inquiries off and on from a former Rotarian of the Largo Club that Alicia and I used to be into, Ramesh Parak, who's East Indian. And Ramesh kind of runs hot and cold, but he may be with us tonight, perhaps. But anyway, he's a long-term Rotarian, been in Rotary a long time, and he's just put out some feelers, and he's ready to do virtual rather than go to in-place meetings, you know. So anyway, the future there is pretty bright. How many does that give us, Alicia?
Well, bringing Vince in, it'll give us 34. If Ramesh is interested, then of course that takes us to 35. So,
Right.
and Vince, going back to Vince, I've taken both pets and RLI classes with him as an instructor, and he's cool. So, okay. So that pretty much takes care of all the business. So now we'll get on to this absolutely awesome survey and the results that Brad Robinson has done.
well, we've got to give you and Will credit too, though. I mean, we really kind of worked as a team here as we put this together and analyzed the results. So you get part of the blame too, you know.
Part of the blame, part of the credit. That's fine.
There you go. Shall we share the screen?
Yeah, go ahead. I've got you set up this time.
Okay. And let's see, I want to do, don't need to share sound, but I'll check it anyway. I'm gonna do that. Okay, can you see the outer space thing there? Yeah, there we go. There.
There you go.
How's that?
Good.
Okay. And let's see, we've got, somebody's still trying to connect, it looks like. Do we know who that is?
Do
Yeah,
know.
I think that's Ramesh.
Uh-huh. Okay. All righty, so let's see, let's start. There we go. There we go. Okay, and get, there we go. Are you all seeing that okay so far?
Yes.
Yep, and
Yes.
polio. Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, excellent. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through the survey, kind of remind you all the questions that we asked, and give you a summary of what the results were, and then we'll also then take a look at what we think the next step should be, which we think we should probably do a survey monkey next, and we've got 8 proposed questions for that, so we'll show you that also. So just as a reminder, this is the survey that we did, and we tried to make it as simple as possible. The first part are just several questions, 1 through 5 possibility. Then we asked people to indicate what they're involved in, or if they'd like to be involved in more things. And then we also asked for some suggestions as to what we can do better. And I'll go through this fairly quick, only because we've just got a limited amount of time. But Ray, if you've got any questions, feel free. And I see Andrew's there. I mean, anyone, feel free to speak up at any time. But I am going to probably try to go through this as fast as I can, just so we get it all in.
Brad, how many total surveys came back?
I'll get to that in the next slide, okay? Good question, though.
Thank you.
Good question. Yeah, no problem. So these were the first 5 questions. I think they came out pretty good. There's one area where we can probably do some improvement, but we'll get to that in a second. How satisfied? I think the 4.5 is pretty good. It's not bad. Obviously can make things better. The number of times visited per month, that's pretty close to 4. It's a little deceiving because you have to remember the only people that were responding, were the people that are probably, going on the thread. So, the actual number in terms of all of our members is probably considerably lower than that. But at least for people that responded, that was the number. The value of the thread and of the Zoom meetings is very good. Satisfied with service projects. This is the one area that we would like to be better, but as Alicia, Will, and I talked, it may be as much as us promoting the things that we're doing as it is, do we have good projects? So it's probably a little bit of both, we think.
Yeah, lack of information.
Right. We're going to get into that a little bit more as we talk about, what's next. And desired level of involvement, I think that's pretty good too. It's pretty close to 4, so that's not too bad. So here's to answer your question, Elisa. I said 29 active members. It's not exactly the best term for it, but we had one person on leave of absence and another honorary member, and I mean we had a couple others, in different status that we really didn't expect to respond, and so we had 29 that I would consider that would have a potential of responding, and we only had 14 responses out of that. So that's pretty disappointing. And as you all know, I was pretty tenacious about this. For about 4 days straight, I kept reminding people, and we not only did emails, we did texting also. And so we did everything we could to get as many responses as we could, and that's all we got. So You know, obviously that's one of our areas of weakness. We need people to be more responsive and more involved, I think. So after the first questions where we had the 1 through 5 possibilities, then we got into you know, what areas were people either involved or wanted to be involved. Service projects, radio like this, Service Projects Foundation was at the top with 5 people indicating that. The environment came right after that. Education and literacy, E-Interact Club was mentioned by a couple people as possibly something we could do. Membership retention, youth, various youth programs that we could get involved in. Improve the website, which Alicia's already done a great job of that. Looks so much better.
Thank you.
After just about a week or so, just fantastic. And generally satisfied with the level of projects and foundation. We had 3 people that were generally satisfied with that. So probably not a lot of surprises here. I think probably a lot of clubs you get some similar kinds of things with Service Projects Foundation at the top, and environment, education, and literacy, you know, membership, youth, kind of all the things that you would expect out of most clubs that people are involved in. Okay, so the next was, what could we do to improve the club? So these are some interesting ones. More service projects, member involved in the foundation and projects. Again, that may be as much a communication issue, as Will was saying, as it is more service projects, probably a little bit of both. More member involvement, that's pretty obvious too from the lack of responses that we got, but especially in the Zoom calls and the threads. We had 3 people mentioning that. More better speakers, a couple people mentioning that. Form committees to increase member engagement. So that was a couple people suggested that. A couple people also said keep doing surveys. One person in particular mentioned SurveyMonkey, and that is what we're going to do for the next one. Extra meeting time was mentioned by a few people, and possibly a different time for international members. We'll get into that in the SurveyMonkey. You'll see how we're approaching that. Possibly expanding the weekly thread to, you know, include some more information from RI. A few people mentioned more sharing of local projects, particularly those that are not, for those people that are not in 6950, sharing the projects that are being done locally. Organize E-Club special events and invite other districts. We've done that a little bit. I think one of the things was the trapeze thing we did, which was kind of a special presentation. I know we invited other districts.
Brad, just a quick item on the sharing of local projects. We could go into a Rotary showcase, I think, and we could showcase some projects we have done.
Okay.
That would make it available to basically the world.
That'd be a good thing. I mean, I think, you know, as we talk, this is something that would really help us. I mean, if we've got projects that we're involved in or that are going on in our district, to be able to share those worldwide, I think would be really helpful for us, even if we're not involved in the project. You know, if it's something our district is doing. And so, yeah, so that'd be a good idea, Will. Let's see. Work with other E-Clubs. We kind of are already doing that a little bit, but I think we can do that a lot more. I know Alicia and I are doing that, and possibly we can get some others involved in bringing some other E-Clubs in to work with us also. Improve the website, which Alicia's already got that well under control. Better club communication, something that someone mentioned. You know, it's an interesting item, being that we obviously have not a whole lot of participation in the response, and so you kind of have to wonder, is it because we're not communicating or because people aren't listening? But anyway, it was listed, so we listed it there. Suggestion to have $25 a quarter as an option contribution so that we could get to every Rotarian every year. That'll be in the SurveyMonkey too, and you'll see that when we get to it. Greater e-club exposure, so we had several different things that were listed there. Improving the public image of the club. For any club, that's always an issue, and how do you do that?
Mhm.
Highlight unique e-club offerings. I think that's important, particularly to bring people into an e-club as opposed to a brick and mortar club. And more submissions to the district newsletter about our e-club's work. I think that would be really important, and possibly, you know, having somebody that would volunteer to do that would be helpful. And more social media presence, although we don't do bad on social media. We've got a couple of Facebook sites already, but that was a comment that was made, so we listed it here. And then we had 3 people that were satisfied with what the club was doing and how we're doing. So that's a quick summary of the responses that we got back.
You to go outside.
So do a quick pause here in case anybody has any comments or questions.
No, I think that's good.
Okay, so
Brad?
there we go. On to the next one. All right, so obviously, you know, the next question is, all right, what's next? So we think we need to ask the following questions. What is the objective of the club? Or another way to say it, what's the club focus? We don't want more than 3 because we don't want to get, you know, too dispersed about this, but we want to ask that question. We want to ask what makes us unique compared to other clubs. What do we want to become? I think when we answer the question about the club's focus, that kind of answers that question about what we want to become, but that's an important question to ask. What do we want to become? What are our goals? You know, one goal obviously is to increase club participation and involvement. I think that's, you know, that's pretty obvious. So we want to develop a survey monkey, and I'll show you that in just a second. But we want people to give us their ideas about choosing a club focus. Now, we'd like people to choose from the Rotary areas of focus. We think that would be the easiest way to do this. We'll allow people to list something else if they don't like that, but we're going to suggest that. Several people mentioned the environment as a possible focus, so we want to drill down into that a little bit more in the Survey Monkey about if that was chosen, what would people like to focus on? And then the question, should we have 2 Zoom meetings, mandatory meetings per month, possibly a different time for international? And if we have 2 Zoom meetings, will we require the thread to be read? These questions are going to be in the Survey Monkey, and I'll show you that in a second. And also, how much support do we have for the $25 per quarter? So this is the Survey Monkey will answer a lot of questions for us. We'll need that first, and then once we have that, you know, Will is going to help us develop this strategic plan from the information that we got from the survey that we just did and the information that we get from the Survey Monkey. The updated website obviously is well underway. We should be forming some subcommittees and have some more discussions about that, you know, what the committees would be, who would be on them, things of that nature. But I think that's really important. It's a good way to get things done when you put people in charge of, you know, particular tasks. And then develop an Interact club. So what we want to do when we send out the Survey Monkeys, we also want to remind everybody of what the Rotary focus areas are, the 7 areas of focus. And so we'll send this out to them along with the Survey Monkey, where we'll list what they are. And what we want to do is we want to list the different, you know, examples of things. In other words, in the environment, what are the examples? You know, climate change, possibly plastic pollution, air pollution, water pollution, rainforest, forest management. Those are just some suggestions about some focus areas that you could have in the environment. And in each one of the Rotary focus areas, we've done the same thing. We've listed areas that you could focus on in the particular Rotary focus area. So we're going to do that for each one of those to give people a little bit of help as they try to decide what it is that they want to choose as our club's focus area. So, you know, maternal child health, basic education and literacy, economic community development, and finally disease prevention and treatment. So this is kind of a summary of everything, you know, that came out of the survey, and I'll show you the SurveyMonkey proposed questions in a second. Does anybody have any questions or comments at this point?
Yeah, I have one under the environment. We have two
Yep.
things related to forests. If maybe we could just have forest management, sustainability, and then to add alternative energy, which is a big thing that SRAG is working on right now under that 7th area. So I'll add alternative energy. I mean, if you have room to keep the 2 forests in there, that's fine, but I would like to see that alternative energy addition in there,
Okay.
which is going to be something that RI is
No problem.
going to
We
have
can do that,
training on.
Will.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
one way or another, we'll make
All right.
it happen, okay?
Good.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so let me get out of this. And then,
Can you hear me or can you see me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I'm Ramesh Parekh. I'm the
Hi,
guest of
Ramesh. Can't
Will
see
and
you, but we
Alicia.
can.
Hi, Ramesh.
Hi, how are you?
Very good.
This is the
Okay.
first ever big Zoom meeting I'm attending. I've done all family Zoom meetings, but not a organized one.
Yes,
Okay,
well,
well, this
Ramesh,
is, Carl, this is our BOD meeting, our board meeting, and every club member is welcome. We just do a real quick, what we're going through right now, we did a club member survey, so that's what we were going over.
Yeah, I realize that. I saw most of it.
Okay.
Great, great. We saw your iPad listed there. We weren't sure if it was you or not, so we're happy you're
Yeah,
here.
that's me. The iPad is in the name of my wife, so that shows up there.
Oh.
We share iPads.
That's fine.
Okay, so
We have 3
So,
iPads, but we share one.
onto the proposed survey, SurveyMonkey. We wanted to try to make this real simple. So we kept it to 8 questions, and we tried to make it as simple as we could. The first one is, what one area do you think our club should main focus? And we've listed the 7 RI areas of focus, although we do allow people a place to put something else in if they want to. But then we drill down to secondary focus areas, because our thought is we'll have a main focus, but there may be some things. Let's just say, for example, that most people think environment, just for example. There may be people that like water or education and whatnot, but really, you know, would feel a little left out because their area is, you know, is not getting a lot of attention. So we thought it'd be good to have 1 or 2 secondary areas of focus so that we could try to satisfy everybody, or as many people's desires of what they'd like to contribute to as possible. So we'll let people choose 2 out of these. Will, were you trying to say something or something?
No, I'm good.
Okay, good. You know, then the next one, several members suggested our club focus on our newest area of focus, the environment. If we choose this area, what specific environmental areas would you like to concentrate on? Please pick 2. So the idea was, you know, in forming this is not, if we chose environment, we wouldn't want to just say, well, our club's going to focus on environment. We want to try to make ourselves unique in some way, so that we've got a particular area or a couple particular areas that we really focus on. So that was the idea. One of the things that you saw earlier was that we make our club unique in some way. And so we want to try to do that. If something like this is chosen, or really any of the areas, we'll want to try to choose 1 or 2 particular areas so that we can make the club as unique as possible. Then we get to the whole idea of how many Zoom meetings we're going to have. And they can pick as many of these as they want. And so we wanted to get as much feedback as we could. The first one was, or is, that we would have 2 Zoom meetings that are required. The The thread would continue, but it would not be required, but it would continue. So that's the first one. The second one is that we would have 2 Zoom meetings. They would not be required, but the thread would still be required. The next one is about accommodating our international members. And one of the ideas is to have 2 Zoom meetings, one of them being something like 10 o'clock during the week, which is a good time internationally. And so we'll see how people feel about that. But then the next question is, should we just have both meetings at the same time? So we're going to get, some good input from our members that way. And then also the question, right now we're on Monday. So, is Monday a good day? Let's see how people feel about that. Give the feedback. And if they don't like Monday, then we've given them a place to put it.
Good.
Then we want our people on a committee. Well, tell us if you are, and if you are, what committee are you on? And if you're not on a committee, or even if you are and you want to be on another committee, here's a chance for you to select the committees that you'd like to be involved in. So we should get some good feedback here from people that either want to be on a committee or not yet, or want to be on an additional committee. So this should help us with the whole idea of forming committees that we just talked about a little bit earlier. This should help us in doing that and finding out which people would like to be on which committee.
Great.
And then here we've got the next one about the every Rotarian every year. And then should we establish an e-interact club? So those are the 8 questions that we're proposing for the Survey Monkey at this point. And so that is the end of my presentation about this. So I'm going to give the screen back to you, Alicia.
Okay.
And
Great,
there we
Brad.
go.
Nice
Very good,
work.
Brad.
Yeah. Very nice
Thank
A
work.
plus.
Good work. Yeah.
A plus.
To be able to
Thank you.
rock and roll
Thank
with
you.
the information we get back, and hopefully we get back more responses this next time around. We'll see. It'll be interesting.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll give it our best shot. Okay.
Of course.
Great showstopper.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going on about 10 till. If everybody wants to take a break before the general meeting, I actually need to stop this meeting and then go back into the next general member meeting. And primarily that's because it's all my computer can record at one time. So if there's anything else for the board meeting, if not, we're good.
So we're going to pause for a while then, Alicia?
We're going to take a 5-minute pause.
We can do a bathroom break.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I had to sit in my seat for
Yeah.
2 hours. No.
Do we need to log out, log back on again?
Yeah, I unfortunately, because my computer
you have to stop.
record an
Okay,
hour at
okay.
a time,
Okay.
and Zoom,
we have to leave.
actually does that too. It says this meeting can last.
Okay.
So
So-
we need to
Okay.
stop this and then hop back on.
We leave
Okay.
now and then log back in.
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
Which is going to make I see my parents are on. It's going to make them really happy. They got to get my dad back.
Okay. All right.
But hey,
All
thanks
right.
everybody.
Okay,
And we'll
great.
Okay.
see you in about 10 minutes.
All right.
Okay. See
Good.
you all in
Okay.
a little while. Okay.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you
Bye.
guys.